Alright, this is my son's Caldera. I did it up for him pretty much. He wanted a Terremoto. I had the Caldera that I did the 3S demo for, and this is it. Um, Basically, I had two of them, but this is the one. The last one I had, I decided to keep, and he's grown up. He's 8 years old. He thinks he can hang with daddy, so he wants to get a bigger truck. So he wanted something faster. He wanted a Terremoto. I wasn't going to go out and get him a brand new Terremoto, so I decided to make. I had the parts laying around. I decided to make it. So, doing so, I reinforced this thing. Pretty much made it as beastly as I could because I want it to be durable for him. So, show you what I did and some of the things you can do as well to beef up your Caldera. It's a great truck. It just needs a couple fine tuning things. So let me show you what we got here. First of all, the option of body is just out the gate. This is the Terremoto 10 body. Obviously, this truck body will fit pretty much everything Redcat's got in the 110 scale, including the larger 110 Terremoto 10 body, the Volcano. I've got a couple pictures of with the blackout body on it. So it will handle multiple bodies, whatever you want to put on it, pretty much. Now, first thing I've done, which makes a little bit of a difference. You can see the difference in the front bumper. Try to get the best angle you can. It's about bumper level. You can see, it's a little bit higher. You can see more front chassis down here. Reason being, this is the Caldera chassis. This is the Earthquake front chassis. It's a bigger skid. So this is the little skid, and the bigger. It's literally this piece difference. The bumper itself is the exact same from the Earthquake, and the bumper supports back here are a little smaller. The Earthquake ones are beefier, so these are going to take more of an impact and more resistance. No front sway. You can put the front sway right on there from the Earthquake. The arms have notches for them, but I put the Earthquake front sway on. Gives you stability. So much more control and balance on the vehicle, which again it's a decent vehicle. It's nice as it is, but that helps. A few extra dollars, you got that. Upper suspension. This is from the Earthquake. Not there. So the Caldera doesn't use it. In doing so, here's the problem. I do want to warn you on this. To do this, you need to get a long bolt and nut. And on the way these wheels are, you start doing that, and this bolt and nut assembly gets too long, it'll actually rub on the inside of the rim. Because when you turn the wheel and all, it actually goes in there. So you got to be careful with that. Which is why, of course, if you're doing the 17 millimeter upgrade, you can put some tires that are a little bit bigger on, like the Terremoto 10s, like we have on these. So this basically is minor things you can do. Which again, I'm not done here. Flip this around. Now I have the WTF, which is the Wild Turbofan. In here, I can actually run 3S on this with no problem. I have the bypass wire here as well still, just because I want it running. This thing's loud. If I turn it on, it's going to be really, really loud. But it's because I have it running at full RPM all the time. That's, I can run 3S, but I don't tone it down for when he wants to run it. Some other things I've done, obviously with the SUV mounts taller for the truck body. These are from the shredder, so these are easily accessible. Again, I got the antenna. This is what I was talking about. You can make this as long as you want. I chose to make it a little bit stick up. For this one, it stays just under, but when I put the truck body on this, we have a truck body as well. We put the truck body on, it pokes up just enough, but not enough over the top of the head, so it's the perfect height for me. Also, I got the 15K Metal Gear servo on there. These you can really, you can just see the difference here. I showed you what the front arms. I talked about that stuff and the rear sways and stuff, but just talking about it for people that don't really understand what this lacking. First of all, putting this on just to give it added support, which is the upper chassis piece from the Earthquake. Putting this piece on here just gives upper support here and just stiffens that whole thing up. which is not on the Caldera, but obviously has the spots to fit it. So you just basically lifting this up and slide that under. You put a couple, I think 2 of these you got to put a little longer bolts on. The other 2 in the middle I think are fine, because where they mount to is only a small area anyway. So I got the screws out of this. I got to put them back in, but basically that's the same exact setup. But watch something here. This is the point of this. Take your upper arm here. I'm gonna go over top. Ready? Alright, you got some twist there, right? I mean, I can twist that thing a lot. Alright, so it's got flex, whatever you want to call it, twist. That's what I call it. This, so I get up in here. Same pressure. I'm even bracing my thumb off of that. Same pressure. I mean, we got, let's go up higher. I mean, basically, it's just a brace. It's exactly, I mean, it's not moving. Basically, if you can't tell, it's not moving. So, you know, a couple of dollars parts definitely stiffens it up. And like I said, I mean, this thing's an earthquake, basically. And it's just, you have parts that you can use from that, knowing that are going to make this truck a lot nicer and bigger. As you can see, just how much beefier mine looks compared to a stock one, or, you know, my son's, I made for him. And there's just some, you know, really inexpensive things you can do to make this thing so much more durable and put it on top of the class. Again, when we get to the blackout comparisons and all, we'll get to the side-by-side out-the-box comparisons. But just, you know, for what it is right now, besides the Terramoto 10, which, you know, we can compare them another day. Besides the Terramoto 10, though, of the 1/10 class, why this truck I feel is probably the best of all 3. So again, the only other thing I have on this truck done different than what would be on the stock one, and again, the motor can's color changed. There's different dyes all the time. I mean, you'll see that with the aluminum, especially with the Volcanoes. Same motor though. But I got the Volcano. They don't make a steel spur for this. It does come as a plastic spur. So I have the Volcano 64 tooth pinion. So I upgraded that too. So it's a steel pinion, get the little washer set in there. It's a very effective system. You can hear the metal gears versus the plastic and the brass. So I mean, you get much more noise, causes a little more friction. That's why they always say the brass and the pinion. I mean, that's an upgrade right there. If you're going to be running 3S or trying to push it to its limits, you might want to do, but just run in stock. Don't even worry about it until there's an issue. Once you have an issue with it, then I'd start looking into this. Just because there's no need of opening it up and start messing with it unless that's the kind of stuff you like to do. So, I mean, that's a side-by-side comparison. That's pretty much everything I've done to my son's. Thinking of the vehicle and basically how I'm telling you, it's kind of like an earthquake. Basically, the only difference really with the standard is, I mean, these are the same shocks. These are the plastic bodies with the plastic tops. Earthquakes have, you know, the aluminum bodies with the plastic. I'm sorry, the plastic bodies with aluminum tops. I mean, it's nothing more than that. I mean, they're not like they're all aluminum or anything. It's literally just the tops. This is an arm for the earthquake. I took off for one of my backdraft builds. I mean, I can't get them side by side, but it's the same arm. So here you got the 1/8 earthquake, which, I mean, anybody that doesn't know about that truck, I mean, it's just a beast. I mean, if you haven't seen my videos for the ones I widen and things, I mean, it's just, they're very durable, very big vehicles, well built. I've never had an A-arm snap. I mean, again, people might have, I never have. And I mean, I've land wrong all the time. So I've never had one of these, and I've built multiple vehicles off the earthquake chassis. Now, granted, the earthquake chassis is aluminum, but let's say you get bored one day and you're like, oh man, you know what? I want to upgrade my truck. You know, I want a big 1/8 scale. You can buy the earthquake chassis, buy the upper suspension brace that goes from here, and you get the center diff, because you will need a center diff because this is just a spur. So So you get the center diff assembly has the raised up, but the upper chassis is going to bring the truck back 2 inches. And basically, you can convert everything you have, even if you want to stick with your motor and your same battery setup, everything you want. You can keep everything the way it is and just put it on the earthquake chassis. And pretty much, you got an earthquake. You got a 1/8 scale vehicle. And if you'd already done the, 17 millimeter upgrades, you're already ahead of the game. All this stuff stays the same. So if you spent money and upgraded your upper arms, you're just replacing literally all this. All that looks exactly the same, except for this. So basically, you're plug and play in. So if you want the aluminum chassis, it's there. You just gotta get a couple other pieces with it. But then you're also upgrading the scale of your vehicle to a 1/8 scale, and you've got the right equipment to do so. I mean, the arms are there. So everything else is the earthquake. So again, me knowing how good the earthquake is, that's a bonus. And once I saw this in the vehicle, I was so disappointed, especially when I'm about to show you comparison to the Blackout, that while these were on back order, I was pushing the Volcano more than I was this vehicle because of the stability difference between this and the Volcano dramatically. I mean, the thing wants to tip a lot, whereas this stays on the ground a lot better. So, a lot of people getting in RCs don't want to have to worry about that. So, all right, next up, we're going to do the comparison with the Blackout. So, be right back.